Hi everybody, this is November 13th, 2024, and I've been posting these videos as a form of therapy for the trauma of watching my little brother, Paul Kierans, 64, with Down syndrome, be locked up in his group home with no visitors by the BC New Democratic Party government. And then he died alone among strangers who didn't understand his communication at Burnaby General. This is a truly evil government practice. And what I'm facing down now is, you won't believe it, but even though Paul died on April 23rd, my evil nun sister, 4,000 kilometers away in Ontario, who has more money than God, is suing to have me declared a vexatious litigant. So there's a 5-day hearing set for next week. If you can imagine that, having to watch my little brother die, have all his medical supports removed and be sedated to death, which is what it appeared to me. He was, I believe that they did medical assistance in dying on him, although he could not have consented to it. So I have to watch the most horrific thing that any human being could imagine, which is to watch a loved one be killed before their very eyes, and then to have to be subjected to a 5-day hearing to have all their civil rights removed, so that my ability to even defend myself. And what I'm thinking about today is I noticed a lot of people have posted about the former premier of British Columbia, New Democratic Party leader, BC New Democratic Party leader, John Horgan. He died yesterday. And I did not want to post positive things about John Horgan. He was like Jack Layton, he betrayed his constituency in the most profound way possible. And I believe that's because these New Democratic Party proponents, members, MLAs, MPs are evil. They're part of the Marxist communists. They're dirty commies, basically. And nothing good has ever come from communism or communists, no matter how you describe it. The New Democratic Party in Canada was started by a man in Saskatchewan named Tommy Douglas. And many Canadians think he was great because he came up with the national medical program. However, people don't know, he was a eugenicist, and he believed in killing people. And that's the fundamental goal of these dirty commies. Communistic programs and governments have killed far more people. It's the scourge of the 20th century. Stalin killed 10 million more people than Hitler. Stalin killed 50 million people. Mao Zedong killed 100 million people with his Cultural Revolution, having children betray their parents. Every communistic government has one goal and one goal only, and that is absolute power and control over people. And the ultimate power and control over people is killing them. British Columbia has the highest rate of medical assistance in dying, so assisted suicide in Canada, I think double. Out of every 100 deaths, 4.5 are caused by a medical doctor or a nurse administering a lethal injection, which is not painless. Recent studies have shown that it is the equivalent of drowning. That is medically induced drowning. The person drowns in their own fluids. And the government has no business being in the people killing business. We've known that from the Bible. But so, John Horgan, go to hell. Yeah, I know you're burning in hell for what you've done to British Columbia. And my parents used to say, never speak ill of the dead, but you've brought the most catastrophic suffering on British Columbia. And so the different things, the 5 points that I've tried to point out as being the shocking, horrifying facts about the BC New Democratic Party is that, number one, they locked up my little brother for 588 days. He'd never had a lawyer. He never had his own representation. And then they killed him. I believe they killed him. They turned, as communist governments always do, they result in shortages and unprofitable governments. So David Eby, evil David Eby, I call him, turned in 2017. He turned $2.5 billion surplus into a $20 billion debt. And this is with one of the most richly endowed places on earth, with minerals, hydroelectric power, farming, fishing, timber, tourist attractions. The New Democratic Party takes everything and turns it to shit. The number one cause of death of children between the ages of 10 and 18 are drug overdoses. 15,000 British Columbians have died of illicit drug overdoses in the last 7 years under the BC NDP, including dying from drugs given to them as a safe supply by the British Columbia government. Recently, I was just talking about this with another retired lawyer yesterday. The Health Practitioners and Occupations Act is a piece of legislation that the New Democratic Party brought in 2022, which will come into effect on December 31st, where anybody who practices in the health professions can be fined up to $200,000 and have their license removed with no hearing, can have a warrantless search and seizure of your medical records, and can go to prison for up to 2 years for expressing a viewpoint or sharing a viewpoint different than the government, NDP government propaganda. So I was a scrutineer. I was a candidate's representative at the election on October 19th of 2024. And I just wanted to point out that if you don't know, that I've been a scrutineer all my life since 1978. And there's always been paper ballots that have been reviewed, and some ballots are spoiled and some are not. And a couple of things that I note about this election is that the ballots are scanned electronically, and the results are printed off electronically. And I got the top mark in my class by far in computers and the law in 1991 at the University of British Columbia Law School. And the project that I did for that course was the admissibility of computer-generated animation, so that when lawyers present animations of, for example, a plane crash, a computer-generated simulation, what kind of evidence is that, and is it admissible? And the problem is that all it is the opinion. All you're seeing is the opinion of the person that generated the computer animation. You're not seeing a film of the accident. You're seeing the opinion of what happened as expressed by the person who created the computer-generated animation. And I said this, I've told everybody that I've talked to, is that the one tiny little bit of control that an individual like me has when facing the dirty dirty commie BC New Democratic Party, my one tiny little bit of power was that little X that I put on that piece of paper. And then it was fed into a computer scanner, and God only knows what happened to it. There is no way on earth of knowing what happened to my ballot and the data on my ballot. So I've lost the last tiny bit of control. And you can bet, with the Communist Party of China infiltrating North American, all Western society in every way that they can, that the first thing they're going to do is they're going to attack our voting systems. And they're well positioned to do it. So I don't know who voted in Elections BC or told Elections BC to do these computer-generated scanning election results, which took a week longer than when we did them by hand. We had all the votes counted by 8:45 after the polls closed at 8 o'clock. And we didn't this time with these supposedly faster computer-generated results. We had to wait more than a week. I think it was 10 days. So what I want to say is go to hell, rotten hell, John Horgan and Jack Layton. You're evil. And your policies have resulted in the impoverishment of my beautiful province and the deaths of tens of thousands of people. And the first thing that I would do if I was in charge in British Columbia is I would go back to paper ballots with eyewitnesses, scrutineers like me or other citizens. So that's all I have to say. I miss my brother Paul so much. I still haven't cried. I think I'll know that I've come to terms with his loss when I can cry. But thank you everybody for watching. And fight these dirty commies with everything you have.